Lepenski Vir is one of the most significant European archaeological sites on the banks of the Danube and represents the highest ridge of the Mesolithic age. It is located in Serbia at the 1004th kilometer of the Danube, and the internet guide Atlas Obscura recommends it as one of the places on the planet that tourists should visit. The national park Đerdap would certainly not be so well known and unique if it were not for the Lepenski Vir archaeological site. The experts say its discovery has enriched the world with the knowledge about the existence of a separate prehistoric culture. Lepenski Vir was found in the second half of the 20th century with the construction of the accumulation for the hydropower plant Đerdap 1, and a few years later was relocated another 30 or so meters farther from the original location. It was the best way to preserve the artifacts that prove beyond doubt the existence of a long and rich life of people in the Đerdap Gorge, the attractive place on the Danube, which makes the border between Serbia and Romania. The culture that developed during the era of transition from the hunting-gathering life of the Paleolithic to agricultural way of the life of the Neolithic age was named after the locality. More than 8th millennia old, Lepenski Vir is certainly one of the oldest urban settlements on the old continent, built according to a plan. The town had a central building, under which there was an open space stretching to the Danube, like a kind of a square, while all other facilities took the horseshoe shape around the square and perpendicular to the central building. The space between the houses was the predecessor of modern-day streets. The architecture of Lepenski Vir is characteristic for its trapezoid foundations, and it seems that its inhabitants had used some specific measures to make them. All buildings are identical, with tent-like roofs and the entrance doors always facing the Danube. Immediately behind the entrance is the fireplace, dug into the floor, made of red limestone and framed in stone blocks. In the geometrical center of each house was the altar, as a place of prayer and even for the burial of certain members of the community. The culture of Lepenski Vir believed in reincarnation, as symbolized by deer antlers that were buried along with the deceased, because every year the deer changes the antlers. However, this culture is most recognizable for its wooden sculptures, whether figurines or ornaments. In ornaments, there are carved lines along pebbles, reminding of arabesque shapes, while the figurines represent beings with fish-like faces because the deities of this culture were tied to the river. Around 5300 BC, the inhabitants of Lepenski Vir had tamed first animals and started practicing agriculture, which was reflected in their art as well. Instead of sculptures out of pebbles, now made are the ceramic pots needed to keep and prepare the grains. The deceased was buried out of the residential area, in the embryo position, because it was believed that everything had come from and went back to the Earth Mother. After a few hundred years, the population of Lepenski Vir left the area around the Danube in search of new arable land, so the life of the prehistoric civilization died out.